when you have a good conversation, you find yourself saying things that you didn't know were wanting to be said. You find yourself hearing things that were surprising and stimulate more things that you didn't know were potentially present. We're hearing a lot about coaching, but the kind of question that has animated me for quite a long time is, what really is the power of coaching? What is the difference that makes the difference? Was a question from one of the inspirers of the world of coaching, Gregory Bateson. And he was married at one point to Margaret Mead, and the pair of them came to the island where I live, the island of Bali, which in a way culturally is kind of like a distant relative of the culture of this great land. Margaret Mead said, for the human species to evolve, and we're presupposing that we need to evolve, the conversation must deepen. We're hearing a lot about coaching as a kind of conversation. But why is conversation so important? What is it about conversation? I had a very interesting conversation after the team coaching session yesterday, and it's very, very fascinating how when you have a good conversation, you find yourself saying things that you didn't know were wanting to be said. You find yourself hearing things that were surprising and stimulate more things that you didn't know were potentially present. So conversation means something more like a dialogue, a speaking between, rather than a debate. The country that I come from is in a kind of social and political crisis at the moment. And it's a culture whose political system has been founded on the value of debate. What is missing and what is much needed is, can we learn how to dialogue? So when I talk about conversations on the edge of silence, from the other side I'm also talking about generative dialogue, which has to do with how can our conversations become fruitful, become generative. And I think it has something to do with the paradox of life. The paradox of life is that from the one side, we live in a world of complexity, difference, diversity, and from the other side, we say that we live in a universe, a single world. And somehow the conversation is important because whether it's a conversation one-to-one or one-to-many, it's a context in which that paradox, that mystery happens, where the individual and the universal meet. The sub-theme of this coaching conclave is demystifying coaching. The French poet Stéphane Mallarmé said, "Toute chose sacrée et qui veulent demeurer sacrée s'enveloppe de mystère." Anything which is sacred and wants to remain sacred is shrouded in mystery. And I think there's something very, very beautiful in the attempt to demystify, while knowing at the same time that it's an impossible task. My life, in a way, has been dedicated to the meeting of those two extremes, trying to plumb the mystery of something, trying to fathom how is it that somebody learns? Why do they not learn? And uncover that mystery, while at the same time finding that actually it happens in the space between what you know and what you don't know. Conversations remind us that what we didn't realize that we already knew. You know, coming to an event like this, you end up staying in a hotel. Hello, can I have a wake-up call? And then the response, you are the universe experiencing itself. This, in a way, is the wake-up call that happens every time we have a very deep and meaningful conversation, because it reminds us of the paradox that as we sit together, I am me and you are you, and at the same time we are not separate. We are expressions of the intelligence that is present in life, in the fabric of the universe, that is discovering and exploring itself through the experiment that we are.